Okay, so Lucas, congrats, welcome to the Power 100.
Thank you.
What is Goloot?
Yeah, well, thank you, first of all, to you and Awin for having us. It's a pleasure. And I say us, I'm here with the rest of our team, so it's been a great event so far. Goloot is a performance marketing company that specializes in helping brands acquire customers via content. So we have a large network of content publishers and partners, from tier 1 editorial media websites to blogs and newsletters. And we power our own native ad units in these articles and on these pages that feature recommended products and offers to the readership that they can, of course, then click on and make their way to their website. It's a discovery experience, it's a consideration experience, but it's specifically designed then for performance, so hoping that that click converts into high quality customers. And we've expanded the business over the years to then support newsletter formats, article formats, and all sorts of exciting content activations.
This index is full of interesting companies and how they started.
Yeah.
How did it start for Goloot? What were the beginnings like?
It's been a crazy journey. The company is a 5-year-old business that I started out of Montreal. I was 19 years old when I started the company. I dropped out of school. The typical, in Montreal, it wasn't the typical story, but this is what you hear in the Silicon Valley, sort of like glorified entrepreneurship. My career begins before Goloot, which sounds crazy. It's like borderline child labor, but I started my career actually in mobile gaming. I was a nerd that loved to think about mobile games and mobile concepts. And with that, I discovered advertising because, as you know, I'm sure most mobile apps and games are monetized by ads. And if you want to build a business in that space, you have to understand advertising. So I spent my teenage years alone and working on mobile apps and mobile games and building all sorts of products that failed miserably and never got anywhere. But it got me into the weeds of programmatic advertising. And then when I became a little bit older, not that old, but just a little bit older, I started, focusing on, building a business that was a little bit more solid than the ones I had attempted when I was a teenager. And one of the ideas that came to mind was to change the way that consumers interact with ads, first on mobile, which was our ambition. So Goloot started off in 2017 as a revolutionary mobile ad network, failed miserably, hung on to the dream, believed in the vision, and we saw a huge opportunity in 2019, 2020 after talking to a bunch of people in the space. Fortunately, Montreal is full of performance marketers. For some reason, the affiliate industry booms in Montreal.
I have no idea.
OPM Pros started in Montreal before they sold to Gen 3, and
Right.
there's a large amount of Canadian affiliates and a large amount of performance marketers that are from Canada and in Montreal. So I was surrounded by voices that were telling me, maybe you want to try something that's not games and there might be opportunities elsewhere. And I saw in the market a shift in dynamic that I thought was going to be favorable to focus on content websites. Where a lot of things were happening in the world. Ad networks were changing their privacy frameworks, brands were losing trust in Meta ads and Google ads, and I thought they're going to want to spend money somewhere else. Where can they go? So I was like, okay, I think content is going to be a really big part of the 2020s, and it's going to be a new framework for advertising, and content websites need better ways to advertise to their readership. That's not just a boring banner. So I pivoted the business in 2020 and never looked back. Raised money, built a team, and here we are.
So I guess as a startup, how has the affiliate channel helped you scale? I mean, I got a few ideas about how it would help, but I'm interested to hear about your thoughts.
So we have the privilege of servicing brands directly that don't even have affiliate networks, and we try to encourage them to adopt them because I think it's such a transparent and fair attribution framework where a lot of brands struggle to understand the impact and value of their media. Affiliate is so direct and simple and entrenched around a last click that for our brand partners who want to start investing in things like content-based advertising and have a hard time justifying that to their CFO, doing it through the lens of an affiliate network that measures the value of our media and the impact that it has on revenue is awesome. Then the affiliate channel itself, we found as a one-to-many leverage for a media company or an advertising network. We were fortunate enough to be supported by publisher development teams, marketplaces, events like the one we're at right now, where we could build really, really significant relationships and accelerate our business. So I think the technology itself was a huge enabler to prove Goloot's value to media buyers and brands who perhaps were hesitant to spend outside of Meta and Google where they were very comfortable. And then affiliate companies are so full of partnership opportunities, so easy to navigate, that when you're looking to grow your company like mine from zero to now, we have over 500 brand partners, affiliate networks have been a catalyst in helping us scale.
And just geographically, from starting out in Canada, going into the US, the well-trodden path there, what was that journey like for you, expanding out?
We started even in Quebec, which is a very unique market, a French-speaking market, drowned in an ocean of English-speaking consumers. The laws are very different in Quebec. The privacy frameworks that you're abiding by when you advertise in Quebec are pretty intense. So I feel like we got like really thick skin as an advertising company, starting in one of the most difficult markets to start in. Every creative a brand sends you, you're like, that's not compliant, that's not in the right language, this isn't right punctuation, we had to change it. So anyway, we had to do a lot of work to demonstrate our value in Quebec. And expanding outside of that market felt really easy. We were like, this is the wild, wild west. There's like barely any rules, no one cares. So, but jokes aside, I think we got to build a really thick skin as a company. Interestingly enough, the majority of our business is now in the US. Goloot's head office is in New York City, and we partner mostly with American brands, but they love to lean on us as a Canadian company to navigate the Canadian market, because Canadian consumers, especially with Quebec as a very significant part of Canada, are so similar yet so different from Americans. There's a lot of similarities, and some brands oversimplify it and think it's just another California. But the reality is Canadian consumers trust different kind of media. They speak a different language in some capacity, especially in Quebec. They consume content a little bit differently. And so we've helped our advertisers adjust their strategies when they enter the market. And being Canadian, first and foremost, has given us, I think, a unique advantage. So yeah, today our business is about 70% US, 30% Canada. We're helping a lot of our American partners on the affiliate networks market themselves in Quebec and in Canada. And I always caution them, like, it's very similar consumer profiles, but yet so different.
I was going to say, like, what are those? What do you pass on to people who are doing the opposite, right? The US to Canada. What are the key things?
We do also, So the Canada to US is a whole other journey, and I think brands are super excited to enter the US market. If they're Canadian native companies, we give them a lot of scale with so much distribution, so many great media partners in the US, and I think that journey is a little bit easier. You're tapping into a bigger consumer pool, generally bigger buying power. American consumers are very responsive to direct response advertising. So American consumers consume a lot of media, and they love ads, and they love to interact with ads and discover products, and they love commerce content. Canadian consumers are a little more conservative. They're not as accustomed to the news and to media, and so we have to persuade them in a very different way. We have to court them in a very different way. So I find that our Canadian partners, they struggle in the US market because it's competitive. So we're helping them gain a lot of scale through our media distribution. And we're a friendly Canadian partner that they can lean on to grow quickly. American companies going the other way are very ambitious about Canada, perhaps too much, and need to understand that there is a very different consumer profile, very different consumer behavior that we have to navigate together.
You dropped a few words in there: content, discovery. Well, I was going to ask you what the big trends that you're focusing on, but is LLMs in there? Yeah, possibly.
So no, it's interesting. Yeah, so we started off as an ad network, and we still are at our core an ad network, right? And we're very proud to be distributing dozens of millions of dollars in revenue share to content partners now, thanks to our performance business, and it's been a really, really great asset for our clients who are spending perhaps too much or dependent too much on some ad platforms, and they want to diversify and touch a consumer at a different point in the conversion funnel. So that ad network business we're super ambitious about. But over the years, we've launched new products to support our brands and our agency partners. One of the products that we're really bullish about is a Meta supported product. So try to help brands build partnerships with publishers on Meta so they can advertise from a more trusted voice, from a place of credibility, typically even benefit from better CPMs on Meta because publisher partners have a lot of authority and trust on that platform. So when you're thinking about how saturated Meta ads have become over the last 20, 30 years now, I mean, brands have been spending for a long time on Meta, you can leverage commerce content and content publishers in general to help you reduce your costs on that platform and build a better relationship with the Meta reader that's like saturated with ads. So we've been very bullish about that and supporting our clients there, which kind of bridges the gap between like a dying open web. There's less traffic there, ads don't perform as well, and Meta still is like the gold star of performance marketing. Well, we can help bridge that gap and give publishers a second wave of momentum.
So that was where the lack of clarity comes from. What about the clarity for the future for Goloot?
Yeah.
Have you got the crystal ball?
Absolutely. But I adore our approach that is, R&D focused and trial and error. and not being overly affirmative about things that we don't really know, but we're super open to all sorts of areas and product investments. So that's, I guess, how we're approaching the future. Our company has been scaling super quickly. There's now over 40 of us, and we're going to keep building a large team, and we're helping brands outside of even of the affiliate channel now discover the affiliate channel and its capabilities and why it matters and why the attribution framework of affiliate is great for your business. So we're going to keep pushing for that. In the next 10 to 15 years, the dependence that brands have on Meta ads and on Google ads is going to keep diminishing and shifting. I think some research and studies are showing that about $100 billion in ad spend is expected to shift away from Meta and Google, so the traditional ad platforms, onto now diversified sources. Brands are going to want to be, working with a variety of partners and not depending on one to drive the majority of your ROI. And I think we're positioning Goloot to be the investment layer for all things content and performance. There's great companies that have taken ownership of checkout pages. There's companies that have taken ownership of newsletters. There's companies that have taken ownership of mobile games. Awin has been a crazy success recently in our business. And I think Goloot is doing a really good job at taking ownership of editorial content and content media. It's great for the publishers who can lean on a technology partner. And it's great for brands who need access and scale. So yeah, excited to keep building our little baby into a giant.